Take a look, folks. We are live in Phoenix today. Any moment, Jodi Arias, the accused murderer, the woman who admits killing Travis Alexander, the woman facing the death penalty, will be back on the stand telling her story. You'll see it live right here on your front row seat to justice. Welcome back. That's a live look inside the courtroom. My goodness. And here's what I expect today, folks. I expect her to continue where she's been telling her whole life story. But when we get to the point of the relationship with Travis Alexander, which may happen or may happen later today because she's getting into incredible detail, we are going to hear every story of everything she ever did with Travis Alexander in extreme detail. And it may take some time. I think she's going to be on the stand for days, not hours. I want to play for you. When she was first on the stand, she was asked right out of the box about killing Travis Alexander. Take a listen.
Did you kill Travis Alexander on June 4th, 2008?
Yes, I did.
Why?
The simple answer is that he attacked me, and I defended myself.
That's the simple answer. The detailed answer may take a lot longer. Dwane Cates, D.C., out there in Phoenix, Arizona. When do you think we get to that point? Because there's a lot of foundation in her life. I mean, at this point where we left off yesterday, I think she's only 20 years old. She doesn't meet Travis Alexander until she's about 28.
I think we'll start getting into the meat of her testimony later this afternoon. I expect her to be on the stand probably all of this week, including cross-examination. I think it'll go at least all of today and all of tomorrow for direct examination, and probably Thursday will be cross-examination, and that's going to be the day to watch.
Yeah, well, today's the day to watch, too, Dwane, because we've got to hear what these explanations are going to be. Joey Jackson, what do you think? And this is an interesting part, and the gun. Do you think that Jodi Arias concedes stealing the gun from her grandfather, or do you think she's going to get on the stand and say that that was Travis's gun?
You know what? I don't think she's going to concede anything, Vinny, and I really do believe that she's going to black out at strange times. In other words, you know, I think the question's going to arise. Listen, you had to defend yourself. That's what you said. Is that correct? Right.
No, so no, I'm talking about direct here, Joey. I'm not even getting into the cross.
I understand.
I'm not getting to the cross. In the direct examination, what is she going to say about that gun? Because they're not going to ignore it, are they?
Well, I think that she's the ultimate thing when they get to the whole issue is she's going to have these massive blackouts so she doesn't remember. It was, you know, my mind. I couldn't think. I didn't know. It wasn't the gun. I didn't steal it. I don't think she's going to concede the issue with the gun, anticipating cross-examination, Vinny.
Interesting. Now, Mike, from my perspective, it's too much of a coincidence. The gun disappears from Grandpa, same caliber is used to shoot Travis Alexander. It's a big part of the prosecutor's case when it comes to premeditation, which is the road to death row. So this is a huge issue. Do you think that she will concede that that is Grandpa's .25, or do you think she is going to say something else, or it'll be completely ignored here?
You know, I think Dr. Jackson, he makes a good point that, you know, she may black out, but I tell you, if they want the jury to believe her, Vinny, she's going to have to concede. Yes, I took that because I'd had enough. I couldn't take it anymore. But then some of the jurors are going, well, why did she go to his house? She went there to kill him. It was premeditated.
All right, Dwane Cates, how do they deal with this issue, which may be the most difficult issue when it comes to the argument of premeditation, which is first-degree murder, which is the road to death row in this case? The gun.
Well, I said it before, and I'll say it again.
Does she concede that that is Grandpa's gun, or is she going to say it's Travis Alexander, or is it going to be some sort of, will it be ignored, or I just don't know?
They can't ignore it. She can't say, I don't know. She's going to have to come up with how she got a gun and why she had a gun. And whether she stole it from her grandpa or didn't doesn't make any difference because the gun wasn't the first. The gun wasn't the first shot. You know, the state's claiming she stabbed him first and did all these other things first, and the gun was at the end. The gun gets her out of premeditation because if she stole a gun, if she got gas cans,
how does that get you
colored
out,
her hair,
DC?
she drove to Arizona.
How does it get you out of premeditation if there's a staged burglary, a well thought out staged burglary at Grandpa's house, and then the gun is brought 1,000 miles from home? How does that get you away from premeditation?
Well, we don't know that that's what the story is going to be. We got to watch today to find out. But again, let me get back to it. If she stole a gun, she colored her hair, she borrowed gas cans, and she drove to Arizona to kill Travis Alexander, why the heck didn't she shoot him in the head when he was sleeping or in the shower? Why did she get into hand-to-hand combat with him?
You want to know why?
The whole sequence gets her out of first-degree murder.
Do you want to know why she didn't just go in and shoot him? Because she was making one last play to get to Mexico. She went there, she slept with him, they had a great time, but she still wanted to be the one. She wanted to go to Mexico. She wanted to be Mrs. Alexander. She wanted him to put a ring on it. He finally said no. Boom, that's it, I'm done with it. That's what I believe.
But why didn't she shoot him instead of stabbing him?
Maybe the knife was closer. I don't know. It's rage. It's more personal. Mike Brooks.
Heat of passion, second-degree murder.
Yeah. Okay. I understand if they're going to make that argument. Mike Brooks, you know, isn't when a defendant uses a knife, it's more personal. It's like, I hate you are doing this to me, and I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, absolutely, Vinny. And the fact, you talk about overkill. And then she shot him in the head. But the whole thing with the knife, that just leads to premeditation, and also shooting him in the head after cutting his throat and stabbing him 29 times. That's not self-defense. That's not self-defense at all, Vinny. That's someone who went there with a plan.
Heat of passion.
She went there with a plan. If he didn't take her to Cancun, if she couldn't have him, nobody else could.
All right, I want to remind everyone you're not missing any live testimony. Jodi Arias will be back on the stand any moment. Let's take a live look inside the courtroom. I'm not lying to you. No, I'm not lying. Right now, you're hearing the truth on In Session. I am not lying. That is the great seal of the state of Arizona. When our cameras are pulled back and the judge has resumed the case, we will take you in. You will see it. You will hear it. All right, Joey Jackson, I've got another one here. How do they explain this? If it's self-defense, how does Jodi Arias explain that she's taking pictures of him in the bathroom, in the shower? And it goes from that moment and in the opening statement, the defense attorney said what instigated Travis's attack on her was her dropping the camera. So how does she go from dropping the camera in the bathroom, right, where he's in the shower, to him attacking her at that moment, to her somehow getting a knife in her hands? I mean, how does that? Because we've seen you've got to go down the hallway and presumably either to at a minimum the bedroom, at a maximum into the kitchen to get that knife. So how does she, if she's being attacked by Travis Alexander in the bathroom when she drops this camera, how does she explain getting that knife in her hands and able to fend off the 5'9", 189-pound, extremely angry, naked Travis Alexander?
Well, here's how they do it. First of all, with great difficulty. But knowing that, as we do, this is what will happen. She was taking photos of him. At that point, it was innocent. It was consensual. Everything was okay. He then lost his temper. As a result of losing his temper, it now went from something that was friendly and a consensual, I'm taking a picture, to something that was aggravating. We don't know where the knife was. However, in the event that she dropped the camera and he became upset, he then came after her. And as a result of coming after her, there was some struggle. There was either a knife close by or she went to get one, at which time he did not retreat.
Define close by, because we're in a bathroom. I don't know who keeps a knife in the bathroom, okay? Other than Mike Brooks. Who keeps a knife in the bathroom? You've got to go all the way down the hallway to get to the bedroom. And I don't know who keeps a knife in the bedroom, by the way. Then to get from the master suite to the kitchen, where there would most likely be a knife, is even a further trip. So what is close by here, Joey?
All of what you say, Vinny, is absolutely true. However, you know and I do that there are instances where there are knives that could be laying around for a variety of reasons. Yes, we keep knives in the kitchen, right? But other times we might take a knife out. We might cut a grapefruit, I don't know, in our bedroom. We might cut a slice of cake in our, another room. So we can't necessarily presume.
There's no grapefruit in the scene.
No cutting board,
we can't
no
necessarily
grapefruit.
presume that she's going to the kitchen to get a knife. It's explained with great difficulty. There's no question about it. But I think we're going to hear that there was a knife that just happened to be in the general vicinity, and she did not have to run to a location to get it.
All right, D.C., you've thought about this. How do you explain? How do you go from the 5'9", 189-pound, extremely angry Travis Alexander, this is the defense story, extremely angry Travis Alexander attacking her, to her being able to get a knife in her hands? They're in the bathroom.
Well, it's exactly what Joey said. They're going to have to explain somehow where there was a knife in the bathroom for some reason. Just like Jodi Alexander explained.
Okay, so the knife,
she said no jury would ever convict me.
There has
She's
to
going
be
to have
reason.
a story. I'll guarantee you she'll have a story.
DC, I just want to make sure we're clear on this, okay? Because to me, this is a big point. This is a big point. It's got to be a reasonable explanation for this jury, for reasonable doubt, right? So you believe that they need to, the story needs to be that the knife is in the bathroom.
Well, I think it does. I don't think that I don't know. We don't know if Travis Alexander chased her around the house. He was so mad, and she was running through the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and he kept chasing her, and she ended up in the bathroom. I mean, at this point, it's all speculation. We're going to have to hear the story. But that's a reasonable explanation right there.
Okay. Let me go to our investigator. Mike Brooks, we've looked at the scene here. What do you think of the scenario? And it may be what Jodi Arias says, is that Travis Alexander's angry, goes to attack her, so there's a chase. Maybe because he's naked coming out of the shower, he slips for a moment. She's able to run out into the kitchen and then run back in and start stabbing him.
But that doesn't hold up with the pictures that were taken and the timeline. It just doesn't add up.
There's no blood outside of the bedroom, right? No. That we know about.
No. No, there was a speck that...
Well, she chases him back into the bathroom. Or he chases her back into the bathroom where she's forced to defend herself.
Okay, so she's quick. She's fast like a cat.
Yeah, she must be a cheetah. I mean,
so he's angry.
Doesn't make sense.
Attacks her in that moment. She's able to. Joey Jackson's smiling right now. So is Dwane Cates. I don't know if they believe this. This is a plot. Because remember, and I always try to remind folks, and I used to try to remind jurors when I was a prosecutor, it's beyond a reasonable doubt, which means whatever scenario is being placed out there, ladies and gentlemen, you must believe is reasonable. I believe any explanation where that knife is not in the bathroom at the time of the confrontation, from my perspective, is unreasonable. This chasing scenario, I think, is unreasonable, because then the confrontation would have been in the kitchen. There would be blood in the kitchen. There's a lot of blood at the edge of the bedroom. So maybe the knife is in the bedroom, and are they going to say, maybe, Dwane Cates, kinky sex, cutting the rope, tying each other up, or whatever they're doing, and that's why there's a knife in the bedroom? So maybe the first attack is where all that blood is on the carpet. Why am I helping the defense? I don't know, but go ahead, Dwane.
Well, that's another possibility, but whatever happened is, I mean, it could have been that Travis Alexander chased her, and she ran through the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and when she got past him again, she ran back to the bathroom, and the confrontation happened in the bathroom. That explains the blood scene. Also, the same thing with the bedroom. If there was a knife in the bedroom, that he could have been trying to grab her. He's wet, slick. She's getting away from him. He keeps chasing her. He finally catches her, and she stabs him. Yeah. I mean, again,
here's what I would argue against that, though. And Joey Jackson, I'd like your expertise on this. If a naked man is chasing me, right, I'm going to run outside. Okay, I'm going to exit. I'm going to run outside because that would lessen the chances of the naked man continuing his pursuit outside. And here's the important part. We know Jodi Arias has clothes on because we've seen the photograph of the pants. So we know she had clothes on. He did not. So, Joey, do you think they could sell the chasing theory? Because if I'm being chased by a naked man, I'm running outside.
Yeah, I think it's implausible, Vinny. I think it's very difficult to sell the chasing theory. However, I would think that, look, we've all had an opportunity to evaluate and to think about this in the spurt of the moment and when the adrenaline's flowing and presuming she's being truthful and was under attack, you're not necessarily having all your senses about you to know you should run outside. Furthermore, if you're cornered by someone and left with no choice, you have no ability to go outside. I'm not suggesting that that's what happened, but under that scenario, you can imagine if somebody is under attack, right, they need to respond. And her response, obviously, was the one she took. I think a larger question also, Vinny, that will need to be explained is why so many times, 27 times, and a shot? Really? So they're going to have to explain not only the location of the knife, but the severity of the overkill with regard to her defending herself.
Okay, now this is the other part of the chasing theory, Mike Brooks. And let's take another live look inside the courtroom. We're getting word that the judge is finishing up the rest of her calendar. This is a judge that doesn't just handle one case at a time. She's handling other matters. She takes care of those, gets them out of the way, so then she can put all her focus and attention on this trial. So any minute, our cameras will be pulled back and we'll be back in the courtroom for day 2 of Jodi Arias' testimony. You'll see it live right here on your front row seat to justice. Mike Brooks, the other problem I have with the chasing theory here when it comes to the knife, that there's this chase. You're being chased and you're going to run back into the bathroom. I mean, all right, maybe you don't want to run outside, but why would you circle back and go back into the bathroom, which is the place where you know you have no exit from?
That's why it doesn't make any sense, Vinny. It doesn't make any sense with the timeline with the stamps on the photos that we've heard, the succession and the times of we see them having sex and blah blah blah, and then all the way down. Then you see him with blood on his shoulder. Looks like he was already had his throat cut. It just doesn't add up for them to run all around the house and then wind up back in the shower. It just does not. It doesn't make any sense.
Now, there was another moment yesterday. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not going to show it to you because live testimony is going to start any moment here. But the way the testimony started yesterday, we know that clip from Inside Edition where Jodi Arias says, "No jury will ever convict me." Well, that's evidence in this case, right? So she was put on the stand and she was asked why. Why? Well, no. Why did you say that? And she said, because I didn't plan on being here in front of you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I didn't plan on being here because I was going to commit suicide. And that's what she said. But in the Inside Edition interview, she said, no jury will ever convict me because I'm innocent. Okay? So how does this play, Dwane? I mean, yes, it's an explanation, but it's an explanation completely contradicted by what she said very convincingly in the Inside Edition interview. 2 different explanations.
Well, you're a former prosecutor, so you've used the old trick of not taking everything in context, because she went on to say, I couldn't tell them the exact reason why at that time of the interview, because there was a guard sitting a couple feet away from me, and if they knew I was going to commit suicide, I would be stripped down, put in protective custody, and be in a padded cell. So she explained why she gave an alternate theory at that time, because she couldn't tell him what was really going on.
Okay. Joey Jackson, she had a month and a half to kill herself before she got arrested.
Listen, here's what I would think. If I were prepping her to take the stand on this particular issue, I would say you have to embrace that statement. Don't run away from it. Embrace it. What you said is because you're innocent. If you were suggesting that it was going to be because you would kill yourself, you would say, time will tell, that's why, or we'll see, but you said I'm innocent. So on that stand, you're going to say, I did say that, because I can say that confidently because I needed to protect myself. I needed to defend myself. I would have been dead absent the conduct that I engaged in on that very time that this occurred where he attacked me. She didn't embrace the statement. She ran away from it. She made an effort to explain it and contradicted herself in doing it. I think it damaged her significantly, and her attorney should have prepped her properly for that.
All right, let's talk a little bit about that. You're not missing any live testimony, folks. We're getting word from inside the courtroom that we are just moments away from Jodi Arias going back on the stand and continuing her testimony, day 2 for Jodi Arias. Dwane Cates, I want you to take us to a place where a lot of people haven't been, which is behind closed doors. It's that meeting, attorney and accused murderer. She's getting ready to testify. the preparation. What exactly do you do? Then, what did you do last night after court? Do you think the defense meets with Jodi Arias after court and says, hey, whatever, take us behind that closed door so we understand what we're not seeing here from the defense?
Well, when you prep your client, there's one thing you can't do, and that's suborn perjury. You can't tell your client to lie. So if your client told you before that the reason she said that was because she was thinking of committing suicide, then you can't say, no, 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 don't say that, say this, because that would be asking your client to lie on the stand, and an attorney cannot do that. And sometimes you're stuck with what your client tells you. Okay, that's why some attorneys don't talk a lot to their clients or don't want the full story from their clients. I do. I don't want any surprises. I want to know what's going on. That may even be why they did the self-defense in this case, was because she probably went to them at some point and said, hey, I did it. It was self-defense. At that point, the defense is stuck with that, and they have to go with that. They can't say no, 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 no. Just don't say anything, because it's a death penalty trial.
For them,
later
it's
on, that would come
multiple
back on
choice.
appeal.
But for this defense team, it was actually multiple choice. Do you want A, I wasn't there, B, the ninjas did it, or C, self-defense? I mean, and this happened in the
They had to use the latest
case.
story, Vinny. They had to use the latest one.
Is that
they had to use the
ethically what
latest
you have
story.
to do? Like if your client, because we've seen this, okay? If a client gives 5 different stories to you, do you get to pick one?
You really don't. And in fact, if a client tells you 5 different stories, probably the good thing to do is just to not put them on the stand.
But ultimately, it's up to them, though, right? They ultimately make the choice whether
it is. The client makes the choice about whether they take the stand or not.
All right, let's do this, folks. I don't want you to miss the live testimony of Jodi Arias. I still see the seal, so they're not quite ready at this moment.